So if you're here, you're in the same position I was in not too long ago. I was in the process of making this controller caddy for my PlayStation, and I really wanted to go out and get a new miter gauge. I could have used it. I wanted it. But it was only one box, so I didn't really need it. And I found myself asking the questions you're asking yourself right now. Should I go out and spend a bunch of money on an aftermarket miter gauge, or should I upgrade the one that came with my table saw? Well, the answer to that's a little complicated. Do you want or do you need to buy a fancy miter gauge? But don't worry, I'm going to help you find the right answer. If you're here, you're eventually going to get a fancy miter gauge. The question is, do you need it right now? Let's take a look at the first example. Do you need an upgraded miter gauge? Well, why do you need one? Are you making one little box? Or are you batching out dozens and dozens of boxes? If you only need it to make one project, then the answer is no. Don't go spend hundreds of dollars on a miter gauge so you can make one little box. You can upgrade your stock miter gauge with just scrap laying around your shop. But if you're batching out dozens of boxes or picture frames to sell, yeah, go invest the money on a good miter gauge. It'll be faster, more efficient, and probably more accurate. Now let's take a look at the other category. Do you want to buy an upgraded miter gauge? Now personally, I fall into this category. I've been eyeballing that $200 Anchor miter gauge for a long time now. It's been calling my name. It says, Chris, go to Rockler and buy me. But there's a loophole. Let's say you really want to buy a miter gauge, but don't really need to. So how do you find a way to need it? Here's a little trick, fellas. Think of the project your wife's been wanting done for a while. Call her up randomly and say, hey, babe, I'm thinking about getting started on that project you want done. You think now's a good time to get started? Oh, yes. Are you serious? Yes, I'd love to see that. I'm so excited. I can't wait. All right. I think I'm going to run to the lumber store and grab some wood and some stuff. Okay? Is that okay? Oh, that sounds awesome. Go for it. There you go. That's how you can buy a new tool. Let's take a look at how I upgraded my miter gauge with crap lying around my shop basically for free. Now you can make the fence for your miter gauge as big as you want, but at some point if it's too big, you ought to be cutting stuff on the miter saw. I wound up going with 12 inches. It's not a bad idea to go a little smaller because you can always add to the fence. If you're using T-track, figure out where you want it to go. You don't want it to interfere with the mounting screws for the fence, so I just put it on top of the miter gauge. Mark where you're going to put the T-track, and go grab a 3/4 inch straight router bit. Now when you install your T-track, make sure to check how deep your screws will go. Don't be a dummy like me and mount your fence to your workbench. I had to run back to the scrap pile and find these pieces. I just glued them on because a screw's going to go through them anyways. With a couple screws and washers, mount your fence to the miter gauge. All right, doesn't look too bad. All we got to do now is make a stop block. In my case, I'm just going to cut a chunk off. It's going to be small and have 4 square corners and drill a hole in it. Just make sure the hole lines up with the T-track. Let's slap this bad boy together, start cutting some wood. This upgrade only works for the short sides of the box I'm making. I didn't want to use that much T-track for this project, and I knew I'd run into this problem. So go ahead and just use a little more of the scrap wood you used for your fence. Find a smaller piece, and we're going to use 2 screws on both sides to attach it to the fence. Now all you have to do from here is use a clamp to add a new stop block. Now you just watch me upgrade my miter gauge when I really wanted to go buy a new one. Get up and do it yourself.